you're going through things, though, whatever it is, things that you have to do to survive, growing up in a certain neighborhood or being in a certain school or a certain job, or maybe you feel like an outcast, out of place, just whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes you have to do things to survive. You
Yeah.
have to do things to survive, and you have to do things to get you through to the next day.
I agree.
you're you're not happy about the environment that you're in, whatever that environment is, or relationship, whatever. um but you're also not happy about the things that you have to do to survive that relationship or environment. um and it creates a lot of guilt and shame around what you had to do. You had to do what you had to do. But I want to know if you can talk about how to deal with that, how to give yourself space, but then also, once you're out of those environments, how probably the things that you had to do to survive can be hurtful to yourself or
Mm,
harmful to yourself once you're out of those
totally.
spaces.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that is a really important topic uh because I I think of them as tools in your toolbox. And in a really toxic environment, a really chaotic environment, disassociating might be the tool that you use. Like if I'm in an abusive relationship, I may have to segregate myself mentally from my reality in order to just, like you said, move through the day.
Right.
And that in a really abusive, chaotic, destabilizing environment, I I never want to take away people's coping skills if I don't know the context in which they're needing them. Right? I'm never going to suggest disassociation is inherently wrong if I don't know where they're at in life, because context matters. So, disassociation, chaotic environment, okay, that's probably like a really good coping skill to preserve your mind. Now you've started to move away from the relationship that's abusive, or maybe it's your parents. You've gotten older and you've moved out the house. Now you have more stability. Now you have a little bit more safety, or a little bit more power in creating your safety. Now we look at disassociation and it's almost moot. You no longer need it anymore. You don't need to disconnect from your environment because your environment is loving. You don't want to disassociate from your relationships because now you have a great partner or you have really good friendships. So it's important. This is a hard thing to do because this requires some level of self awareness. If you don't have a friend, I always suggest getting in therapy to do this process. Start to evaluate your coping skills, and that should be on a regular basis. Like every year you need to be evaluating, does this coping skill serve me anymore? Is it still giving me what I need it to give me? And you typically know whether it is or not based upon how, again, the symptoms. You got a laundry list of symptoms. You got depression, anxiety. Are all your relationships kind of like in shambles? You're not feeling supported. They're telling you that you're not present. Those are indicators that something needs to shift about the way you're moving through life.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. You can catch us every other Friday if you enjoyed our content. If you're watching, you can catch us on our YouTube page at On Our Days Off. If you're listening, you can catch us on listening platforms such as Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.